Hi, and a really warm welcome to Templates for Change. This is part of the Self-Growth series. My name is Christine Thompson, and I'm going to be talking through this particular presentation. It's all about qualities which harmonize with the universe. Now, what am I talking about here? There's a great deal of talk about the quality of life. It's one of those expressions, isn't it? Everyone says how important it is to have quality of life. Now, what I'd like to do is equate the quality in one's life with what qualities one actually has, both in oneself and also the qualities in the people around you, the ecology around you. And this particular presentation is going to concentrate on how this relates to a personal growth journey. Because let's think about personal growth. There are so many different ways that it can be approached. But this particular approach is actually very down to earth and a very, very simple one. Something any person can decide to do for themselves. It's about making one's choices more conscious. So, what qualities? Which ones do we want to grow? How do we decide? Well, as always, there's a huge amount to learn from the way of the universe and the way of the planet itself. And that is where I would always start, rather than looking to some book or what somebody else has suggested. How about looking around us at the way of the natural worlds? What do we see, and how can we learn from that? Now, where I'd like to begin on this idea of qualities is by looking, for example, at the regularity of the sunrises, the sunsets, the tides, the seasons, the rotations of the planets and the sun. How about deciding or considering whether it's a good idea to develop in oneself that sort of regularity? To be someone that other people can depend upon. Because doesn't that put us in harmony? You could say in synchronization with this bigger reality. Just in the same way that we depend on the spinning of the planet around the sun, the spinning of the sun around the galaxy for our own stability. How about being the kind of person that other people can depend upon? Having that sort of regularity. Well, there's something to consider. Another aspect that we see all around in nature is persistence. And I've got a photograph here of a spider in its web, and I'm sure most people have heard that very famous story about the Scottish king Robert the Bruce when he was hiding in a cave and was inspired by the very, very many small efforts of a spider spinning its web. It's this feature of not giving up and keeping on trying that we see absolutely everywhere in the natural worlds. For instance, if you've ever watched a bird building its nest or feeding its young, many, many small efforts to reach the goals. Or another wonderful example is if you ever walked along a pavement and noticed some tiny little plant has somehow managed to push its way through the concrete. Well, it's almost unbelievable, isn't it? Well, that kind of resolve that brings us back again and again to our chosen intentions and encourages us to make many, many small efforts. That's the sort of persistence and resolve that I'm talking about here. And the great thing is, every single time we do that, every small act, it reinforces our intentions both to ourselves and to others. And of course, this really does build our character. You could say it's those repetitious acts with a reason behind them in the same direction that does build that strength of a character that others will recognize and be able to respect and depend upon. Okay, well, just to repeat what I was saying at the beginning, the idea of developing a quality in life that I'm sort of honing in on here is the idea of finding ways to synchronize, to be in harmony with the world around us, the natural world around us. And here's a great one. In fact, I think this is maybe one of my own favourites, which is finding the way to have a fresh and enthusiastic start every day. And, well, you probably remember yourselves when you were a child. That feeling like you can't wait to get out of bed. There's so much you want to get at. It is absolutely an unfettered enthusiasm. And you certainly see this in the worlds of nature. Think about the dawn chorus, as enlivening and beautiful today as it ever was thousands of years ago. Or the plant's response to the sun's rays. It's instant. Quite amazing. And so to develop in ourselves that ability to look freshly at things, at people, at places, each new day, brings a really rejuvenating energy to life. And isn't it totally different to that sense when someone gets out of bed kind of groggy, a bit the day after the night before, or you get out of bed and immediately link into maybe the problems of yesterday or the work you've got to do today. It's none of that. This is just actually deliberately deciding to get up in the morning and look at the day with that freshness. And boy oh boy, does it make a difference to the whole of one's life if one practices that on a regular sort of basis. Well, here's a different one again. And this is about care. And, you look around the way things work in nature, particularly in the animal kingdoms, and the incredible care there is between one generation and the next. I've got a photograph here of a penguin with its baby, and I'm sure many of you will have heard some of the incredible stories of the emperor penguins and the way the fathers will wait for, I think it's often, might even be months. It's quite a long time, waiting for the female to come back with food. And in the meantime, they make sure they never let the egg, the baby penguin in its egg, touch the ice, because of course that would be instant death. And it's a wonderful example, but there are so many more of them. And you'll find, say, a mother bird that would allow herself to be attacked rather than have her young endangered. And is this anticipating the needs of the life around us and mindfully finding ways to show others that we care about their needs and well-being? Well, to me, that is quintessentially at the core in some ways of being an active part of the continuance and refinement of life on Earth. And this extends into absolutely everything, to the environment, living things around us, people, and of course, and very importantly, care towards ourselves and detecting what our needs are and going out of our way to look after ourselves as well as others and the ecology around us. Again, it's this being in harmony with the way life does continue and does refine of life on Earth. And then, of course, there are some qualities which actually only humans really contribute to our world. And maybe these are the most important ones of all. Now, what I'm talking about here are things like kindness and generosity and compassion. The kind of qualities which require consciousness and choice and a huge heart, and are really part of the spectrum of living which only humans can bring to the great table of plenty. Now, I've already mentioned that we see care in the natural worlds, but this aspect of deliberately finding ways, consciously making the choice to have compassion and kindness to others is something that is very, very special to humanity on Earth. In the natural worlds, I think we could say that the care we see is almost inbuilt, it's instinctive, it's almost, you could say, automatic. Whereas with people, it's a consciousness. And this is one of the very, very special gifts, almost unique gift, that people have to offer into being part of the progression of life on the planet and life in the universe. So, contemplating which qualities we want and deciding to ensure they're alive, well, and growing in the garden of ourselves, well, that seems to me to be a blossoming journey to self-elected success. And it's a planned success. And you know what people say, one success leads to another. So thanks very much for joining us on the TFC Self-Growth series. I hope you found this useful, and it might be something you want to explore in your own way and your own time. It's the kind of contemplation that one could go on and on with. There are so many other qualities that we could explore together. But part of the way of TFC is really to give some starter ideas, which we hope might encourage a person's own self-elected and self-designed personal growth. So thanks again for joining us, and do visit our website if you would like to. There's lots more information and more links to different presentations on there, and we'd very much welcome some feedback if you have anything you'd like to tell us about what we're doing. All the best, and bye for now.